Okay, you're a first-time home seller. What do? You can find a ton of videos about first-time home buying. You can see all the processes, and people can get thousands of tips of what to do when you're buying a house for the first time. But where are the videos on being a first-time home seller? Here's one for you. We're going to show you some tips, some tricks, and some experiences we've had with sellers in the past that have helped them be really, really successful in the market, whether they're first time, second, third, fourth, but especially if you're first time. Check it out. All right, so here's the first tip. This is the most important one, and this one's gonna have the biggest impact on your process, your pre-market, anything about it. Interview real estate agents, okay? Multiple real estate agents. I'd interview at least 3 realtors. Here's how you find them. Ask your friends and family about experiences they've had with real estate agents. Ask people in your community. Ask people in church or at your job, as work. Ask people who they've interacted with that are real estate agents they've had a good experience with. Or you can search YouTube for a video. When interviewing real estate agents, you want to ask them a certain set of questions, okay? You want to know their experience, how many houses they've listed and sold in the past year. You want to ask their process, what they're going to do to market your house. What does everything look like through the experience with them that pertains to you? Now, the fact that they won a ton of awards or they've been on stages, yeah, that matters to an extent. What really matters is that they're keyed on to what your goals are and they're deriving their process to match that. All right, so the second thing is you need to establish a timeline. Now, something you should think about before you meet real estate agents, and really when you're thinking about the process of selling your home, you should think about that. But when you meet a realtor, you're gonna establish a timeline, right? Because there's a lot of things that are gonna happen during this process. Repairs, updates, photography, videos, pre-market, on-market, showings. There's a lot of things that are really built around the timeline and certain dates in order for you to be successful. So if you haven't thought about a timeline for when you need to or have to sell, you're going to establish that while interviewing real estate agents. And if you haven't established it then when they leave, you're definitely going to need to know that by that point. All right, so you've interviewed real estate agents and you've selected one, okay? Now you've established a timeline as well. So what's the next thing you're going to do? Is you're going to do updates and prepare your home for sale. This is the part where having a good real estate agent is really going to help you. But what we're going to be looking at is we're going to look at flooring, paint, any sort of minor repairs that need to be done, power washing, landscaping, curb appeal is huge. Okay, you're going to want to do all these items to your house that your realtor suggests. I mean, unless your house is perfect right now, which most of them are not that we run into, because it's going to get you the most amount of money. Don't forget about the curb appeal part. It's when they pull in the first time, they get the first chance to see your home. And if it looks great from then, believe me, they're smiling walking in the door. When that happens, they're probably gonna make an offer. All right, now the fourth tip goes back to the topic of showing your home. You need to make your home available for showings, which means when your house goes on the market, you need to be flexible and ready to roll out. So that may mean having plastic bins around for put some of your personal items in, you can put under the bed. It may mean getting out of town for the weekend. It's gonna probably be pretty sudden that some people wanna see the house, but let them in. That first week, every showing counts because those are the most motivated people. Make it available to show and be flexible for when they want to show. All right, so the next one, number 5, kind of ties in the whole process and the transaction as a whole, okay? Don't get caught up in the emotions. Okay, this is very emotional, especially on the buyer side. So you may have a first-time home buyer buying your house. Remember what your experience was like. It's gonna get pretty emotional. And know that there's a lot of hurdles to jump from the seller side compared to the buyer side. And depending on what the market is, it may be a seller's market where you have all the leverage, and maybe a buyer's market where the buyers have a lot of the leverage. Your real estate agent is going to guide you through the process, but please stay calm, stay positive, and trust that whatever happens is meant to happen and it's all going to work out at the end. All right, so the people have seen your home and you got somebody that really loves it. They make an offer on your house. Now it's time to negotiate terms, right? So that's the next tip. Step 6, go through all the terms, negotiate good terms for you with your real estate agent and the buyer's agent and the buyer as well. Now you're going to go under contract. So what happens next? The next part is the buyer's going to do their inspections. As a seller, make sure you're not there. That's their time with their inspector to learn about your house, okay? After that, you're gonna have your appraisal. The appraisal is gonna come in. You don't have to leave for this. Just be scarce, don't talk to the appraiser. A lot of times they won't talk to you anyway, but it takes about 15 or 20 minutes. Then we're heading home to the finish line, okay? We're gonna get the closing, and then what do? All right, so step 7, the final step is getting to closing. Okay, so what happens during this? You're going to contact your utilities, let them know the close date. Unless you have a rent back in the house, you're going to keep the utilities in your name. You're going to let them know the close date so it gets out of your name. You're going to contact the title company, give them all your wiring information to make sure you can collect your funds, right? Why sell your house if you're not making any money? Then you're going to prepare your house to be vacant. So a lot of times in these scenarios, a real estate agent will negotiate a 2 or 3 day rent back so you can move out. Otherwise, you have to be out by that last day of settlement. The contract date is your day out. Now, if you leave anything in there, it's the buyer's. All right, so make sure you're fully vacated or you have that rent back negotiated ahead of time so that you can go into this process easily, knowing what you're going to expect. All right, so here's a couple of bonus tips, all right? Some things that I've seen personally from sellers, right, to make them super successful. One is they follow the lead of their real estate professional. They listen, they trust, and they execute on what their real estate professional suggests to them. Trust me, we are not trying to get you to spend money that you don't need to spend. And believe me, the thing you don't think needs to be updated, right? We want everyone to see your home as the hottest house in the market. We're giving you those suggestions so that that is true. When we're on market, it's shining bright. All right, so the second pro tip is think about asking for a rent back up front, even if it's 3 days, okay? Be settled during the week during bank hours, and you're gonna be working that time. You do not wanna be moving out of your house on a Monday, Tuesday to move into a different house on a Wednesday. So up front, let your real estate agent know, like, hey, I wanna have a rent back at least through that next weekend so I can move out. Otherwise, that contract date, if you were to leave all your stuff in your house, the buyers have it now, all right? So make sure you think about that up front and let the real estate agent know so they can disclose that, and that when buyers offer, they'll build it into their offer. All right, so everything we just went through there is really important tactics and tips, suggestions that our sellers have used in the past to be successful in the market, all right? But the main focus should be that number 1, interview multiple agents. You love to see what multiple people have to say so you can select the right one for you, all right? You need a guide during this process, but you need an experienced guide. Someone that's listed and sold at least 10 to 12 houses in the last 12 months, not someone that's listed and sold 1 in the last 12 months. You're gonna have yourself quite the little time with that, all right? If you have any questions or concerns, or if I missed anything that may be a cool tip, throw it below. I'm Shawn Martin. Have a good one. I'll see you next time.